Today, we're diving into three alternative publishing options: vanity presses, crowdfunding, and serial publishing on platforms like Substack. Some of these come with huge red flags. Others might be worth your time depending on your goals. So let's break them down. Hi, I'm Diane Hatz, and this is Hearth Writes with Diane Hatz. This is a space where we talk about writing, creative expression, and reclaiming our voice, especially in midlife. The whole series I'm doing on publishing is about the real choices authors face when bringing their books into the world. And it's based on what I've learned publishing my own books through my company, Whole Healthy Group. I'll have a link to the playlist with all the videos on the different types of publishing, and this includes traditional, indie, small press, hybrid. So let's start with vanity presses. I'll be honest, I would never publish with one of those outlets. Vanity publishers usually charge enormous amounts of money, sometimes $10,000 or more, and often give you almost nothing in return. They might tell you they'll do the formatting and the marketing and all that, but I've heard stories of people who paid good money and got nothing in return. They might require you to buy hundreds of copies of your own book as part of the contract. You could spend thousands up front and then thousands more just to have your book sitting in boxes in your garage. I mean, just tip, 80% of all books are sold on Amazon. So not many people do well with thousands of books sitting in their garage these days. And with print on demand services so widely available now, that model just doesn't make sense anymore. Some vanity presses will also try to retain the rights to your book. So if you want to walk away, you can, but you can't take your book with you. I said this in another video, but whenever you're given a contract from anybody, I don't care if it's a book agent, I don't care if it's, one of the huge, I'd say especially if it's one of the traditional big five, make sure you read every single word and all the footnotes and all the fine print. If you can and you have the budget, hire a lawyer. I highly recommend this, to hire a lawyer and have them read it over. There's so many things that you could be giving away. And when I used to work in the music industry, I worked in business affairs for a while, and I read through some contracts, and, I mean, I don't blame a lawyer. They're going to try to slip in what's most beneficial for the company they're working for. You have to be an advocate for yourself. So vanity presses also promise legitimacy and professional publishing, but what they actually deliver is usually subpar, and you could lose a lot of money and get nothing in return. So how can you tell if a company is a vanity press? To be honest, it can be hard, especially figuring out if the company is hybrid or vanity. First, do your research. Find authors who've published through the company and speak with them. If you ask the publisher for names and contact information for some of their authors and they won't give anyone to you, that's a huge red flag, and I would run away, not walk away, I would run away from them. If a company contacts you and pressures you at all, be warned. If you are promised blockbuster movie deals and huge royalties, be suspicious. Also, if you're sent an email and it's not grammatically correct, it's a red flag. If a publisher can't spell or doesn't know grammar, that's a very bad sign. And as I've mentioned before, check out writerbeware.blog to see, just to learn more about what goes on and what's happening. And also, if you're trying to vet some company, check out that blog to see if the company you're looking at is on there. So I can't stress this enough. You might hear me say this a million times. You have to do your own research. Search Reddit and see if you can find out how the company makes money, or read reviews about the services. If you get a weird feeling in your gut, I'm telling you, walk away. Always trust your gut. So next we have crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a viable option for some authors, but I would suggest you not do this unless you already have an established audience, because it usually takes a lot of time and effort. One platform more and more authors are turning to is Kickstarter, and some writers have been hugely successful. In 2022, author Brandon Sanderson raised the most ever on the platform, a whopping $41.7 million. But Sanderson had already published 50 books, so he had an established and an extremely enthusiastic audience. Many authors raise money for special editions of their books, novels only the contributors will get, collector item limited edition covers, things like that. But again, these writers already have an established audience. If you really want to try Kickstarter, and let's say you don't have an audience, by all means do. You need to have something you're raising money for. You can't, I mean, you could try, but odds are you're not going to get much support if you're just raising money to pay the bills while you write. You need to be raising money to write for a particular book, for a special edition, to create an audiobook, etc. And you need to offer things to your supporters like free copies, special access, membership on a Discord channel, etc. A general rule of thumb is to keep it digital, because if you end up with a successful campaign, you don't want to be mailing out 1,000 t-shirts. If you have a lot of friends and family who you think will support you, go for it. You will have to constantly send updates and ask for money over and over, though. Some estimates say it takes 7 to 20 times before someone is willing to buy or invest in a product. So you have your work cut out for you. There are people doing well with Kickstarter. And just so you know, with Kickstarter, you have to reach your goal to get any of the money. So make the amount you're asking for low. What many people do is put a small amount in for the goal. I mean, it could be a couple $100. And when they reach that, they'll then get the money, and then they'll talk about having a stretch goal, which can be more. And you can have multiple stretch goals. So you can keep going for more money, but it just makes it less risky that you'll get anything in return. And if you don't know, with all these services, they take a percentage. So another platform that people use is Patreon. So with Patreon, you set up tiers and you offer supporters something at each level. For example, for $2 a month, you get a private newsletter. For $10 a month, you get access to a live Zoom, that kind of thing. There's a lot of work to do this right, and also because you need to stay in touch with your contributors. But you can get funded before you publish, especially if you know a lot of people who contribute. I tried Patreon when I was a healthy food advocate in the sustainable food world, and I did raise some money. I just wasn't able to keep up with the constant communication that you need, and I didn't have enough money to hire staff to do that. So there's a balance. You have to weigh out, what you have the capacity to do. Another option, which I actually think is good, is Substack. It is actually a really good option for writers. In the last year or two, it really seems like millions and millions of more people have joined the platform. So there's a huge audience there now. It's free to set up and use. And you can also download the email addresses of people who sign up for your publication, so you own the emails. They've even expanded to audio and video. So author use Substack in a couple ways. I've been using it since 2021. I started publishing standalone articles on writing and self-care, but now I embed links to the YouTube videos, these videos that I do from Hearth Writes, and I write an article around it. I also use it to promote my books, but I don't publish original fiction on there. But more and more writers actually are publishing fiction on the platform. They'll put up a scene a week, a chapter a month, whatever works for them. After putting the whole manuscript up, some even package and publish the work as a printed book or ebook. Substack has an optional paywall, so an author can ask for a certain amount a month. The standard ask is $5, so a writer can end up making a decent living, and just more than a decent living, honestly. Some make 6 figures a month. I mean, the top people are making a fortune on Substack. So the author usually offers something unique for subscriptions, like a behind the scenes, live Q&As, private articles or videos just for people who are paying. And that's to entice people to subscribe. People can also follow or subscribe to you for free. I turned on my paywall just to see what would happen without offering anything special. And I was surprised to find that some people became paid subscribers just to support me. So I always recommend that people turn on their paywall, even if they're not pushing subscriptions. I also tell authors that even if you don't publish your book on Substack like I don't, you can use Substack as your email list and newsletter. It'll save you quite a bit of money over using a newsletter service. I use Flowdesk from a newsletter. Just it's $400 a year, but if you get to a certain number of people on your list, the constant contacts, and I think even like the mailer lights, they get really expensive. So if you're just starting out and have no or a small audience, I really recommend Substack. So with over 20 million monthly users as of 2023, Substack really is a powerful tool, especially as social media gets harder and harder to navigate without having a big ad budget. And I I don't know about you, but I get almost no traction on Facebook or Instagram anymore, and I don't do paid ads. I can't afford it. The few times I've tried, just the money goes like that, and I've gotten not even a click. So I cannot help you navigate uh, Facebook ads and, whatever, Meta, ugh, whatever. If I could get off those platforms, I would, but that's me. I digress. So these are a few more ideas on how you can publish or raise money for your books. I highly recommend Substack, and I'd suggest you think through Kickstarter or Patreon before jumping in, because it does take a lot of work and you have to hound people. But do what feels right for you, and good luck whatever route you take. So thank you for being here. I'm Diane Hatz, and this is Hearth Writes, and I will see you next time. Thanks.